His ability to hit the ball out of the ballpark, hit power to all fields, and the fact that he combines that with some speed, so out in center field, he's been, relatively an above average defender out there in center field at a premium position, so that in itself makes him dynamic. And then you put all that into consideration, the fact that at the plate, aside from the fact that he has power, he actually doesn't strike out that much either. So you're putting together the type of profile of a player, who could really help a team in multiple facets, and that's what you want when you talk about a dynamic player.
Andy has a column up on SNY.TV about what Anthony's talking about, his ability, Springer's defensively in center field. Where is he at that position, Andy, and how might he age at that position?
So at 31 years old, Doug, Springer is an above-average defender, as Anthony said. 69th percentile in outs above average, which is a StatCast stat. Sprint speed is up in the 60th percentile. So he's good now, although the Astros are obviously a data-driven organization. I'm told they've used a lot of data to help position him. He plays deep, which is not always ideal. Sometimes has trouble coming in on balls. But here's the thing about him where it gets defensively a little bit tricky for the Mets, and questions that they would have to ask themselves about pursuing Springer, is that people that know him say that he's an elite right fielder and would probably remain so for several more years. And, an average and slowly declining in need of some positioning help center fielder. So the question then becomes, do you move him to right within the next year or two? And in doing that, what do you do with Michael Conforto? So it's a bigger roster issue for the Mets. And I think as great as Springer is, you could probably make an argument that if you were to just sign Conforto, who's a little bit younger, keep him in right field and get a glove guy in center, you might be better off spending your resources elsewhere.
So, Dan, back to the cheating asterisk that may or may not be there depending on where you are with this thing. Do you believe that should be part of this conversation with George Springer?
Doug, it's going to follow him around because, let's face it, we are a grudge-holding society, whether you like it or not here. But, George Springer, you give him credit for one thing. Out of all of those that were guilty and implicated for being part of that operation with the Astros, he was one of the few guys who owned it and who actually was apologetic here. So, I think he's got that going for him. But the bottom line, too, is if you want to dive deeper into the numbers with George Springer, this is a guy who's hit 20 points higher in his career away from his home ballpark in Houston. So all the cheating and stuff went on at home. So the guys had more success, at least offensively, on the road here. But the fact that Anthony pointed it out, you're talking about a World Series MVP, played in a ton of big games. I think local guy, of course, from Connecticut. I think he would be a perfect fit for this team.